Reynolds, and I'm a physician executive with HealthNEXT. I've been with HealthNEXT for 11 years, and during that period of time, was part of the team that developed our EA50 assessment tool. I worked with many of our HealthNEXT clients doing health management assessments and helping them design programs to address both medical issues and the cost issues around claims. Several years ago, we were engaged by an international pharmaceutical company who found that their medical claims and pharmacy claims were significantly above that of their industry peers. So we performed our EA50 assessment. We then did a very deep dive clinically into their medical claims and into their pharmacy claims. What we discovered was that they had a very high number of claims surrounding chronic back pain. Their workforce, about 50% of their workforce actually worked remotely. And this was back in the time when drug representatives were carrying heavy suitcases, giving out prescription samples to physician offices and hospitals. So they were carrying these heavy cases. They were also driving significant amounts of time between office locations. And thus, we felt that was probably a driver of their chronic back pain. But when we looked at the pharmacy claims, we uncovered a very disturbing trend. And that is that this 50% remote workforce were receiving an exceedingly high number of opioid prescription claims during the year. Some of them were receiving multiple prescriptions throughout the year. Well, this raised a red flag to us, first of all, considering potential opioid abuse and addiction, but secondly, because these people may be driving under the influence of opioids, and therefore it presented a potential liability problem for the employer. So the first thing we did in dealing with that issue was to create an educational campaign, but jointly between us, the employer, their EAP, and behavioral health providers, that was presented to their employees about information about opioid use and abuse, potential addiction, and the reasons why that's not a good medication to take for chronic pain. This was very, very well received by the employees, who really was kind of a wake-up call to them because they didn't realize that they were in that potential abuse or addiction state. We then worked closely with the AP and behavioral health provider to develop a program of ongoing support with no fault, so that there was no consequences for an employee to report that they were possibly addicted to opioids. And it was very, very successful in reducing opioid abuse. We found that we also created with their PBM an opioid monitoring program, so that the PBM was actually monitoring their opioid prescriptions on a very acute and real-time basis. They had a benefit consultant and their PBM looking at their pharmacy costs, but none of them were clinicians, and they really didn't dig down deep enough to uncover this as an issue, because these are all opioids are all generic medications, and the cost is not an issue. The cost is very, very low. So we were able to help them with that. In addition, we created a very comprehensive health management program, including disease management for a number of conditions. And as a result of our intervention, this employer was able to reduce their healthcare trend by 2% per year over the 3-year period of time that we engaged with. So I think this is a good example of the importance of taking a deep clinical look, not just a surface look at cost alone. And this is the kind of service we provided to a number of clients.